Mercury retrograde during December 2017. In this video, I will talk about the meaning of the retrograde motion of the planets, and specifically for this retrograde cycle of Mercury, why the time frame is different than maybe what you are expecting and hearing everywhere else, and also how it's going to influence each of the zodiac signs. So, first of all, let's talk about the retrograde motion. Just a quick reminder in case you have forgotten. So, normally we have the planets moving in the natural order of the signs one after another, just like the sun. So from Aries, then comes Taurus, then Gemini, and that's the usual normal way of the motion of the planets. But when we have a retrograde phase, from our perspective here, so if you're watching from the Earth, it looks like the planet is moving backwards. And instead of, entering from Taurus to Gemini, the planet actually is moving in the other direction, from Taurus to Aries. And this is very important, so keep in mind it's only like things look from our perspective, but that's how they influence us. So the most important is what we see from here. That's how the influence comes. And when the planet is retrograde, usually the things which are related with this planet are not moving forward. When we talk about Mercury, it's always about communication and contacts and traveling and our plans and basically a lot of things happening in our daily lives. And of course, it's important to find out where in your horoscope exactly the retrograde planet will transit your horoscope. Okay, so let's talk about this concrete Mercury cycle. First of all, the time frame. From the 3rd of December until the 22nd, Mercury is officially retrograde. And it will be stationary on the very last degree of Sagittarius. And then it will go backwards until the 30th degree. And actually, I'm going to show you why we need to take a bigger time frame. So, first of all, let me show you now. We have the planet moving forward, and Mercury will be on the very last degree of Sagittarius here. So, let's pretend that this is the last degree of Sagittarius and this is the 30th. Now, on the 15th of November, Mercury is on this very degree, on the 30th degree, on the 13th actually degree, for the very first time. Then it goes direct and it will go to the last degree of Sagittarius. Then it actually happens on the 3rd of December. Then from the 3rd of December, it goes back until the 22nd of December, where it will be stationary again. And of course, for the 3rd time, it will go, but this time it's moving direct. So here the first two times, actually the first and the last time, Mercury is direct. And the second time it is retrograde, and this is actually January. Okay, so I'm going to explain, don't get scared of all these pictures. Now, the main idea is that first the planet moves direct through a certain position of a certain part of the zodiac. Then it goes back direct, and then for the 3rd time it moves, but again is direct. So this part of the zodiac, so from the 13th until the 30th degree of Sagittarius, Mercury will go through 3 times. And yeah, the actual retrograde phase is from the 3rd of December until the 22nd, but the process begins earlier on the 15th of November when Mercury is on this degree for the first time, even if it's moving direct. And this is very important, guys, because things which are happening during this phase, so from the 15th of November until the 3rd of December, so during these 2 weeks, actually you can change after that when Mercury moves retrograde through the same degrees, which is from the 3rd of December until the 22nd of December. And this is the whole period actually when you need to be more careful with all the activities that you are about to start or which are really important for you. So let me say again, from the 15th of November until the 22nd of December, you have to be more careful. Things which are started during this time can be changed afterwards. Sometimes it can be for good, sometimes, you know, there might be, well, just the circumstances require that. But in other cases, your plans can be messed up and, you know, it's difficult to predict the outcome of the situation. So that's very important. And when Mercury moves for the 3rd time, and it is direct, which is from, let me see, so from the 22nd of December until the 11th of January, this is the time when you can repair something. And actually you can change the situation or the circumstances will be changed, but generally, as you can see, the time frame is much bigger than usual. The actual retrograde phase is from the 3rd of December until the 22nd of December, but starting from the 15th of November, you have to be more careful about the things that you would like to start. And after the 22nd of December, when Mercury is already direct and it will go for the 3rd time through the same degrees, it is okay to start new things because Mercury won't go back to these signs and degrees for approximately 1 year. And it is okay, actually, things are moving forward. But from the 15th of November until the 22nd of December, you have to be more careful. And just plan things in a way that, you know, you expect the unexpected and you are open to make some changes. And yeah, avoid starting something really important which you are doing for the very first time, specifically in the area which is affected by Mercury and actually in your horoscope. We are going to say a few words about each of the signs, so we don't make the video too long, but everyone can understand the specific influence for them. And actually we can start, of course, as usual, with Aries. For Aries, Mercury will be retrograde in their 9th house. So this is the time when you need to be more careful with traveling, with if you're going abroad, and with your higher education. For Taurus, Mercury is retrograde in their 8th house. So it means that you have to be careful with finances, with resources. Some secrets might come up. And yeah, there might be some kind of tension because 8th house is a little bit more complicated. Gemini, for Gemini, this is a very significant transit. This is the ruler of their own sign, Mercury, going retrograde in their 7th house. So it's about relationships, it's about your partnerships. Things might be more complicated. The communication may not be so smooth. Not a very good time for starting a new relationship. Then for Cancer, Mercury is retrograde in 6th house, so be careful with your work, with your daily activities, routine stuff, and health, of course. For Leo, Mercury is retrograde in their 5th house, which means that they have to be more careful with their communication with children. Also, this is your romantic life, so things may not be moving forward. Some things might be restarted as well, but generally not a favorable time for starting some new creative projects, some new romantic relationships, and things which are important for your children. Then we have Virgo. For Virgo, Mercury is retrograde in 4th house. And it means that you have to be careful with your home, with property issues, with your family. Don't forget Mercury rules your sign as well, so it makes the transit even more significant. For Libra, Mercury is retrograde in 3rd house, so be careful with communication, with devices, with planning your trips, with education and all kinds of information. Then we have Scorpio. For Scorpio, Mercury is retrograde in their 2nd house, so be careful with financial decisions. Some unexpected expenses are possible and generally not a favorable time for starting some financial activities. Then for Sagittarius, of course, this transit is extremely important, especially if you happen to have your Sun or Ascendant between the 13th and the 30th degree of Sagittarius. You are definitely going to feel the influence. Not a favorable time for starting new initiatives, personal things which are really important for you. And yeah, actually things may not be moving so fast as you would like. Then for Capricorn, Mercury is retrograde in 12th house. Not such a significant transit. Maybe you may spend more time at home, maybe you can isolate a little bit, but generally not a house which can bring some material manifestation of the energy. So maybe Capricorn are not going to be strongly influenced by this transit. For Aquarius, Mercury is retrograde in 11th house, which means that you have to be careful with your social activities, with your friendships, with things that you do together with others. If you're part of some kind of community or institution, also be more careful. And finally we have Pisces. For Pisces, Mercury is retrograde in their 10th house, so it means that you have to be careful with your career. This is not a favorable time for starting new business, some important projects, communicating with authority figures, asking for promotion. Things might be more complicated. As general, we can say that the mutable signs, of course, are going to feel stronger the influence of Mercury. And the mutable signs are basically Gemini and Virgo and Sagittarius and Pisces. The reason, of course, because Mercury will go major challenging aspects with your planets or ascendants or another cusps of houses, and you may feel more difficult this transit. Again, pay attention where in your horoscope you have this part, actually from the 30th degree until the last, the 13th and the 30th. Yeah, whatever. The new things, or at least you have to be prepared for the possible changes, is from the 15th of November until the 22nd of December. After that, things are easier and you have actually the green light for some more important projects. I also recommend you actually to check your Sun and Ascendant sign, because both of them can be important, especially the Ascendant. If you know the exact position where Mercury will transit retrograde your horoscope, this is the area where you have to be more careful. So that's the most important about this transit. I hope that it will be helpful. I hope that you will plan properly your activities. Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss some future updates. And thank you very much for joining me.